asked to be given to students in grades 3 through 5, and we are choosing to give it this year in April and May. Before you even give the Smarter Balanced Summative Assessment, please read your testing manual. There's information about testing security, testing rules, and test administration all in your manual. Testing security is very important. Before you can give the test, make sure that there is nothing on your walls visible to students that could potentially help them with the test. This includes words walls, multiplication charts, anything like that that could help them. Make sure it's covered or removed from the walls. Make sure that students are sitting in areas where they can concentrate, focus, and have a quiet space to work where they're not distracted by other students. Make sure there's a sign on your door that says, "Do not disturb, quiet in the hallway," so that people know you are testing. Make sure that during testing that the students are being quiet and respectful of one another, that they have the right materials for testing, a pencil, a scrap paper, a Chromebook, their ID card, and that you as a proctor are walking around to monitor their testing. Make sure that you know that their student ID and testing information is confidential. Also, the test is confidential, and we need to keep that information. Any questions on the test, that's also all confidential information, and we should not be sharing it with other staff or other students. After the students are done taking the test, make sure that you destroy, throw out, shred any materials that they used as scrap paper. The general rules of online testing tell you that students have to answer all the questions on a page before they can go on to the next page. Sometimes that means you have to scroll down to find the other questions that are on the page before they can go on to the next page. If a student stops working for 20 minutes or more, the test will automatically pause for them. You can see more about the pause rules on page 33. If a student needs to take a quick break for like 10 minutes or less, you do not need to pause the test. You can just leave the test as it is, and the student can continue. But if a student pauses for more than 20 minutes, then they cannot go back and change any answers that they had previously. When you administer the test, make sure that you distribute scrap paper to all students, and all students should have working headphones when taking the test. Make sure to check the volume setting on the Chromebook before the student signs out. The student needs to sign out of the Chromebook in order to access the testing application. It's called Secure Test Browser. The directions for the test administration have to be followed exactly as they are written and used every time you give the test. You have to read all those directions from the manual. When you are giving the test, make sure that on your laptop that you do not log out and that you do not close the window or the browser, because if you close the window or the browser, then the student's test will automatically be stopped no matter where they are. In order to give the test, you have to go onto the Connecticut Comprehensive Assessment Program portal, and I have sent you that link. It is also in the test administrator's manual. Then you're going to select Test Administration after you have logged in. Once you're in test administration, you're going to start a new session by clicking on the arrow on the right. Then you're going to select your school. Then you're going to select the test you are giving by selecting the arrows for Smarter Balanced Summative Assessment or Next Generation Science Summative Assessment, not interim, summative. And then you are going to select the plus, not the box, the plus, until you have gotten to the box that you need to check. We are giving one test at a time. After you have selected the box, it will tell you these test materials are secure and need to be handled appropriately. It tells you information about the test and the environment, and you read it and select OK. Then you're going to select in person for the session type and start the session. Once you start the session, it will give you a session ID, which you will then share with your students, either by putting it up on the smartboard or giving it to them in a small group setting. The students will sign out of their Chromebook, sign into their secure test browser. They will enter their information from their yellow ticket, their first name, their student ID, their session ID, and then they will verify their identity by selecting yes. Then the student selects the test that you have chosen for them. We are doing Smarter Balanced Summative Assessment, so make sure that you have selected the correct test for them to take. They will select the test, and then they have to wait for you to approve them. You can approve them by selecting the approvals box in the top of your screen. You can approve one student or all students at the same time. The students will then have a sound and video playback check, and if they do have text-to-speech as an accommodation, they will get a text-to-speech sound check. Then the students will have a page that tells them about instructions and help, and test settings, and then they can select Begin Test Now. Please take test security seriously. This is a statewide assessment, and we need to make sure that there are no students talking to other students about test items, that teachers and staff should not be talking to one another about test items. That would be considered a breach, and we are keeping this test and any information in the test secure. So we are not allowed to discuss test items. We are not allowed to take screenshots or pictures or anything like that. And if you see anything like that happening, please report it to me immediately. And please read through Appendix C of your testing manual so you are aware of what a breach, an irregularity, and an impropriety is during testing. Our testing schedule, our third grade will be testing on Tuesdays, our fourth grade will be testing on Fridays, and our fifth grade will start the NGSS test on Wednesday and Thursday, April 20th and 21st, and then they will test every Thursday after that until the end of May. Make sure that you know your login and password. Please try to log in a few times and test it out before the first day of testing for you. Please review the testing manual. And if you have any questions, the best way to contact me during testing is by text, 860-861-0478.